Now, Libya's embattled government has flatly rejected rebel calls for a ceasefire, describing their terms as mad. Opposition leaders are demanding the regime withdraw its troops from western cities and grant freedoms to citizens, while insisting Colonel Gaddafi steps down. Well, RT's Paula Sleer is in Tripoli and she joins us live now. Paula, Gaddafi has rejected the rebels' terms, but his government seems to be involved in other talks. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, the Libyan government has rejected the offer of a ceasefire from the opposition. A spokesperson here in Tripoli said it would be mad to expect Libyan soldiers to withdraw from cities where they were still fighting. Now, this is almost ironic because it wasn't so long ago that Tripoli itself made 2 ceasefire offers. And at that time, the rebels said that these offers were insincere and could not be trusted. So certainly a lot of mistrust between both sides, neither willing to be the first to lay down arms. But on the diplomatic front, a slightly different picture is emerging. We are hearing from the country's former Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Aziz Al-Obeidi, that the lines of communication have been opened and that they're hoping to intensify them. They say that they are talking with the British, the French and the Americans to reach some kind of mutual settlement that would see the stopping of killings of civilians. Now, we are hearing the same line coming out of London. It has confirmed that in recent weeks it has been meeting in private with several high-ranking Libyan officials. We know that just on Wednesday, Mohammed Ismail, who is a trusted aide of Gaddafi's son, was in London. He was trying to organize what we understand some kind of exit strategy for the Gaddafi family, but London insisting that any kind of deal, any kind of settlement plan would have to include Gaddafi himself stepping down. Now, it does seem that a political settlement is possibly the way forward. Certainly the mood and the assessment one gets here on the ground is that the fighting has reached some kind of stalemate. Neither side is actually winning in terms of the last few days. Neither side has actually been able to move forward or backwards. So people here increasingly thinking that a political solution is the way to go forward.
Paula, as NATO airstrikes continue to rock the country, we understand there have been reports of civilian casualties.
We're hearing from doctors on the front line that in some of the most recent NATO airstrikes, at least 7 civilians were killed. They were all children. 3 of them were girls from the same family. Now, what we're being told in what were separate incidents, NATO airstrikes hit an ammunitions lorry and the explosions caused 2 nearby houses to collapse. So some of those injuries coming from that. Overnight Friday, we're also hearing disturbing reports coming from the western city of Misrata, with residents saying that the government and soldiers there have intensified their shelling, that it is very random and that a lot of people are dying. Here in Tripoli, the airstrikes have continued overnight. There were missiles that were fired in the east and southwest of the city, some of them landing in Gaddafi's compound at Bab al-Azazir. According to eyewitnesses there were snipers on the building and there was blood on the ground. The fighting in the front line centered around the town of Brega. We are hearing, though, that the rebels are slightly better organized, that they are now stopping the inexperienced young fighters who have shown themselves to flee in the face of chaos from actually reaching the front line. We are also being told that they have new communication instruments with them in the form of satellite phones, in the form of radios. These have no doubt been provided by the international community. We're also being told that the rebels have mortar and some new equipment so that they are stepping up their fight on the ground. We are hearing from the European Union that if asked, it is ready to send a humanitarian mission. It will essentially hold a military operation that will provide humanitarian assistance in the sense of helping to evacuate displaced people and also provide assistance to humanitarian organizations working here.
Okay, Paula Sleer, for now, thank you very much for that update.